Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Good day, good day.
Good day, good morning, 6:15 a.m. where we are, and we've been up for hours.
We sure have. It's been nothing but pure fun, like Christmas morning, kind of.
Well, yeah, okay. It's definitely been a change. It's been a change. First morning, get up and actually feel like you want to put socks on because it's chillier.
It's definitely different, yeah.
And, embracing the change of the seasons.
Indeed.
Guys, please do subscribe both channels, EEARTS and Evolutionary, and I don't know what today's going to bring, but it's going to bring a lot. And these next several days, several weeks, it just feels like everything is shifting to a totally different place. This is what we've gotten, and we've expected this, and we've been getting a lot more information coming through. We're going to be doing a lot more of meditation and seeking guidance in these times. And we do encourage everybody to do the same.
Absolutely. It's like right now, these times are very, very pivotal, and we need to be as close to our highest self as possible.
Oh, well, let's start over here. And so we see a harrowing message from the U.S. Embassy in Moscow. U.S. citizens should not travel to Russia, and those residing or traveling in Russia should depart Russia immediately while limited commercial travel options remain. A security alert for U.S. citizens in Russia. And what we've been getting again, and Cindy's feeling stronger and stronger all the time, that the timeline that we're on, we really are going to a completely different area. And there really could be expansion in the conflict that we've been watching taking place over in Ukraine. Obviously, one of the main things that we covered yesterday was all about the Nord Stream, being basically sabotaged. And it seems that it's out there. Everybody thinks it's sabotaged. And so the Polish politician on the left there basically came out with a tweet saying, thank you, the U.S., for the sabotage of the Nord Stream. And it makes a little sense when we look at this, as you see a Baltic pipeline inaugurated. New gas link connects Poland to Norway via Denmark. So a Polish politician thanks the U.S. for blowing up the Nord Stream exactly the same time a pipeline to Poland opens up. What a coincidence. There are no coincidences.
No, there's not.
There isn't. There's a lot going on. And here you see, Russia blew up their own pipeline, but not the Norway EU pipeline that's right next to it and just opened today. 65D undersea chess going on. Oh, there's an awful lot going on. An awful lot going on right now. And everybody should just take your preparations to an all new level. Look at what they're showing us. Mobilized reservists in occupied Sevastopol in the Crimea. So, this guy looks older than me. And so does this guy. What's going on? This is the best Russia could do. This is all Russia has to offer. And when I see all these things, and then you hear some people laughing, it's like, oh guys, you're buying the mainstream media again. This is exactly what they want to sell you. Russia's telling its untrained, conscripted cannon fodder to take women's sanitary pads into Ukraine to use as bandages because Russia can't supply them with medical kits or anything, and all sorts of things. All sorts of things that make you feel that they are totally ill-equipped, unprepared, they're too old, they're too young. They're making it look like the Russian military is a joke. This is exactly out of the art of war. Appear weak when you are strong, and appear strong when you are weak. Well, they're certainly looking like they're weak. They went and pulled back. They pulled back from Kiev, remember, and then they pulled back again. And now they're making it look like everybody that they're sending off to war needs crutches, a walker, or a wheelchair. This is the art of war.
You know, I mean, to the point where it really feels embarrassing that they put that information out there and then expect us to believe it.
I don't, not at all. All warfare is based on deception. Therefore, when capable, feign incapacity. When active, inactivity. When near, make it appear that you are far away. When far away, that you are to lure him. Feign disorder and strike him. When he concentrates, prepare against him. Where he is strong, avoid him. Anger his general and confuse him. Pretend inferiority and encourage his arrogance. If there is a disturbance in the camp, the general's authority is weak. Do we not see disturbances within the political system of the U.S.? Nonstop. There is no instance of a nation benefiting from prolonged warfare. And what did we just see in Afghanistan? Well, the U.S. was in there for, basically a generation, we can say, and pretty much got nowhere and left billions of dollars in equipment to potential adversaries. Now, Russia was in there before the U.S., so Afghanistan has suffered, several generations. In fact, this goes way, way back, of invasion by occupying forces. And here you see now Russia struck a deal with the Taliban to supply gasoline, diesel fuel, gas, and wheat to Afghanistan. This is the first major deal struck with quote-unquote terrorists since the seizure of power in Afghanistan. By the way, India, we've been watching India strongly and intently, and it appears that they are aligning more and more solidly with Russia and China. And again, China, 1.4 billion people, India, like 1.386 billion people. Those are the two largest countries in the world by far, as far as population goes. And then there are also the 3 and 4 ranked militaries, with Russia number 2, U.S. number 1. It's the writing's on the wall here. You have New Zealand calling it quits on aiding Ukraine's military at a moment when Washington continues what's essentially an endless arms and financial aid pipeline to Ukraine, and as some defense officials express concerns over the Pentagon's own dwindling stockpiles. Some people refuse to believe that, but in reality, again, yes, the U.S. is in the weapons business, obviously, the military-industrial complex. And when you look to China's expenditure, it's been creeping up, but still only a third of what the U.S. spends on military. But again, this is really, in many ways, this is military that's being supplied, given, in many cases, all over the place, many different countries, and just plain old sales as well. And then we know it's full of corruption, and we've all heard stories of, $200 hammers and, $10 nails, that type of thing. It's just obvious. New Zealand is one of the Five Eyes intelligence sharing partners, which includes the U.S., now says it no longer can keep up with supplying what Ukraine is asking for without depleting its stockpiles. This has again been part of that bigger plan. They tapped into our strategic reserves for oil at a time when energy is through the roof. We could have filled that strategic reserve at $24 a barrel. And now at $79, $80 a barrel, that's when they want to look into refilling it. I bet you it doesn't ever get refilled. This is part of the bigger plan. This is the Trojan horse. This is all about, Babylon the Great, which they view as NATO. Well, it's that, woe to Babylon the Great. And it's all playing out exactly as expected. And here we see the EU refuses to recognize referendums in Donbass, Kherson, and Zaporozhye regions. So there were the referendums on whether these Ukrainian breakaway republics were going to join Russia. Well, they all voted to join Russia. Surprise, surprise. So these breakaway republics are not going to be recognized by NATO and the EU. Again, this is obviously leading towards an expansion in the conflict. Now, they say the results indicated major support for joining Russia. 99.23% in Donetsk. Wow. This is just back to the USSR with their voting turnout when we were, talking about Gorbachev and all the others. Again, but we can't really even speak when it comes to our results, because how many of us really trust our results? I think you'd have to be naive to trust any results. 98.42 in Lugansk, 87.05 in Kherson, and 93% in the last region. So overwhelming support. They all want to join Russia. Now, whether they do or don't, I guess the only way to find out really is to go and interview people yourself, because we get conflicting things on the ground there. Absolutely. The world is so divided right now. And you got to ask yourself, what's Newsom doing? Well, he's obviously going to be their poster boy. He is going to be their 2024 candidate. As we know, 46, there's only so much time allotted to him before he has to go back into the crypt.
I know. It's just kind of what we got right now.
100,000 Chris Jones, Gavin Newsom is pledging for the campaign for Arkansas governor to get rid of Asa. Yeah, I mean, this is really everything that's going on here. We know, there's strings that are going right over to GS, other strings going over to the few, put it up to, this is just a puppet show on parade. And this is nothing to sneeze at. This is nothing to sneeze at. What are you looking at? Well, you're looking at where Ian is supposed to hit. This is actually right by where I was in Florida. And so you can see this is Port Charlotte Harbor here, and this is Fort Myers down here, and we got Tampa to the north. This is in some ways, maybe Tampa is going to escape the brunt of this, is what it's looking like, but it's still, this could be one of the biggest blows ever in our history with the strength of this storm right now. And if this shifts a little bit, the flooding in Port Charlotte will be amazing and brutal. And they have had flooding there. I mean, I was looking at a house there years ago that was dirt cheap. And the reason was that you would end up paying way more in insurance than you would the value of the home each year. I mean, it was just in a flood zone. And boy, these flood zones are going to be tested with storm surge of 10 feet or better. The rainfall that can be unleashed might be in the terms of feet. Where I was 11 to 12 feet over sea level with a 10-foot storm surge coming in. That's not good. And yet here you can see the way the wind is whipping. You might have an instance up in Tampa Bay where the bay might empty. It's really kind of crazy to see what's happening here.
I know. I mean, I really feel people need to back away wherever they can and just get stable. Yeah, there's a reason why. Again, everywhere we look, you're going to have challenges. I love this area. This is one of my favorite areas to live, albeit it's definitely too populated for us now because we are more like hermits in training, and there is just too much population in most parts of Florida unless you get into the middle parts like Sebring and some of the spots in the middle of the state which aren't so heavily populated. But yeah, this is going to be one for the record books. Again, this is what we're looking at. This is Charlotte Harbor. Now, still, this can really end up landing anywhere from Fort Myers, Cape Coral, all the way on up, to Clearwater, possibly even higher. But right now, it looks likely that it's going to be coming in somewhere in that greater area. It's again Charlotte County into Sarasota County. Lots and lots of people in this area. This area has built up tremendously. I mean, it's a gorgeous, beautiful area.
The situation with the strengthening of this storm is disconcerting, but it's actually what I expected. And let's again put our intention to good use. They had expected some weakening of this storm, but now it's intensified to where your maximum sustained winds are 155 miles an hour. 155 miles an hour. Now you're talking the power of Hurricane Michael that left what looked to be Hiroshima and Nagasaki, except for this is in a much, much more heavily populated area. And the barometric pressure, the minimum central pressure is down to 936. This is a powerful, powerful storm. 155 miles an hour, 157 is Cat 5. You're 2 miles per hour off of Cat 5 level, the highest rating that we have. As we see this headline from the Sun Sentinel, Hurricane Ian nears Category 5 strength, top winds of 155 miles an hour. So it jumped from 140 miles an hour at 5 a.m. to 155 miles an hour 90 minutes later. And it's heading inland sooner than expected. So, again, we have to watch this. This is the gravest hurricane threat to Florida's west coast in years. Right now, it's about 65 miles west-southwest of Naples, 80 miles south-southwest of Punta Gorda, moving north-northeast at 9 miles an hour. So it's slowed down a little bit. It's expected to slow down even more. Hopefully, it doesn't slow down too much, because that will just expose everybody to more of the pounding that it's going to be giving, as you can see it right here. So when we look at the trajectory, it's scheduled right now to land as a Category 4, and again, it's only 2 miles off from Category 5, the very highest. Comes straight across. It'll definitely impact Orlando before exiting, maybe somewhere over around Daytona Beach area, and then going up the coastline, and perhaps again re-entering somewhere around South Carolina's low country. Not a good situation at all. These are the spaghetti models. As you can see, it does look like we're looking at an impact between Fort Myers basically and Tampa sometime today. So please, please, please put out your prayers for everybody down there. We do have a lot of friends down in that area. As here you can see what is forecast to happen as far as your sea level pressure, give you an indication. It's going to be, unfortunately, one for the record books. By the way, Cuba entirely without power after Ian caused the grid to collapse. Yes, the entire grid went down. We just saw Puerto Rico lose all their power, and still you have the majority of people that still don't have power right now. These things take time in these countries to get working again. So Cuba's grid collapsed late Tuesday. The entire country is in the dark. There's going to be a lot more of countries going in the dark, and in some areas it's going to be in much, much colder zones as we head towards the colder time of year.
I know, and I'm looking at this guy, and he has not just one little baby, but he's carrying 2 little babies, with something that doesn't look much more than just a really light jacket over them. So let's please send our intention and our healing modalities toward all of these people, and those that are kind of in the way in Florida too. Is we want them to be able to get out of the way or be very, very stable and very, very safe while this is happening. It does feel like something that it could go bad, but with our intention and our energy, I think we can dissipate some of this to help people.
Absolutely. And again, we are very inclined towards the spiritual side of things, and we are, instead of, our personal view right now is not the eat, drink, and be merry. This is more the time for sober preparations, because we are really getting into the thick of things. And what we've seen to this point, it is not as intense as the times that are coming up directly ahead. And that's not being, doom and gloom or trying to manifest anything negative. No. This is just the timeline that we're on right now. So, now is the time to be as prepared as possible and to double check your preparations. And, yesterday we got a grinder that you can grind wheat. So we were grinding some wheat berries, and Cindy didn't realize the lip was super sharp. It wasn't the blades, it was the lip. First time we were cleaning it, and so she got a cut on her thumb, and it took it immediately to be a case of like, oh wow, that's something I didn't do good enough. I don't know if we have 2-3 years worth of Band-Aids, antiseptic, things like that. We have some, but do you have enough? What if we are totally cut off? What if all of a sudden things are not available? And of course, we always focus on water, food, all those type of things, keeping yourself warm. I got a lot of work ahead of me personally, even though I know that our time in this particular location is short, and this is just a respite. This is just, I don't know where we're going to end up, but I do know, again, that we're supposed to be flexible and mobile, even though you're trying to root and ground at the same time. Rooting and grounding, stay rooted and grounded where you feel safe and secure as long as you can. But it's a lesson when we look at the people all over the globe in these different countries, some war-torn, like Syria, Iraq, Afghanistan, and many others. Ukraine. How many people in Ukraine thought they'd have to, just leave everything behind and evacuate? This is our lesson for these times. Again, we might find that we all of a sudden have to leave everything and just save our lives to go somewhere else to be safe. And it could be natural disasters. It could be natural disasters with augmentation. It could be war. It could be a lot of different things.
Mm-hmm. And, we really want to focus on stability wherever we go, because to be taken care of, we need to be somewhat rooted and make sure we can get that nourishment. So if there's family, that's the place where I would have my focus on, where family is that way, you have some type of understanding and acceptance where you're going. So finding that rooting, that grounding, that place with family, very, very important.
Absolutely. I cannot understate that. And we'll leave it at that. But family, and again, family can be the family that you make for yourself, as well as, blood relations. This week in volcano news, Mauna Loa earthquake swarm, and the alert level also raised at Taupo. So Taupo in New Zealand was raised for the first time. Mauna Loa has a new shallow earthquake swarm. Yeah, we'll have to, watch that. Also on Piton de la Fournaise volcano, we see a new volcanic eruption as well. We have gotten that truly the mother will be waking up, and we will have some true natural earth changes that are going to be setting in this time period, besides the augmented ones. And the other aspect of all the things that are going on is that financial reset. And it's curious to see this little bank announcement. A planned system outage will occur from 6 p.m. Friday the 30th of September. We keep seeing that time period. Sydney, Melbourne time to 9 a.m. the 5th of October. That's a big outage. You're going to be unable to transact or access online services for your account. Sorry for any inconvenience. And it looks like it's ANZ Bank again. That really sucks. You're not going to be able to do any online banking for 5 days. 5-6 days. There's big changes afoot, guys. 29% of Americans now drawing from their savings more than usual. Less people are even putting into, say, paying down mortgage, paying down bills quicker. Because obviously, cost of living is going through the roof. Energy cost, food cost, it's all going through the roof. It's making it tougher and tougher on everybody to get through. But, again, this is where we have to pull together as much as possible. 30-year U.S. mortgages rise above 7%, first time since 2000, the fastest surge in history. As you see this quote, boy, that was quick. National average 7.08% today. Yeah. Wow, that is skyrocketing.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked about the fact that you won't be able to get 30-year fixed in many cases, and I would expect that that's going to be a thing of the past. In the foreseeable future, UK food price inflation reaches 10.6%, which is a record in September. And we have Syria demanding compensation for oil losses in UN speech. Yeah, because basically the U.S. stole it. Stolen by the U.S. over an 11-year-long war. And again, people don't even realize there are U.S. troops in Syria right now. Right now. There are Russian troops in Syria. There's Turkish troops in Syria, and then there's also Syrian troops. So we were talking about you might have to get up and go at any time. This guy is ready. See, he's taken his respite. He's got his hat on in case it rains. He's got his little mani purse. Mm-hmm. He's good to go. You know, he's having himself a little dream. He's looking for guidance from his guides, from his guardian angels, and he's ready to go at a moment's notice. This is almost how we are to be prepared, and cover all the basics again, and double check yourself again. Batteries, how about batteries? How about candles? You know, we don't have enough candles. I have to admit, we don't have enough candles. I have probably 30 candle holders. As when we were in New Mexico, we used candles almost exclusively. But, you know, this little guy, he's ready to go. You need to be ready to go too.
I know, and look at him. He's ready to go, but he's resting very, very well right now because he's ready to go. So knowing that, get ready to go, and then don't worry about it. Just do what you need to do in between and take a nap like this guy.
I think I hear his little mind saying, cheese.
Me too.
Swiss cheese, provolone, cheddar.
More Swiss cheese, more Swiss.
He's going to make some more holes in that Swiss cheese.
He is.
As always, guys, thanks for your support over on Patreon and also on Ko-Fi. We really, truly appreciate it. We understand things are tough in these times, and that keeps us going, making the videos and warning others, getting people prepared. Also, check out Medicinal Foods. Lots of good products. Use coupon code EEA. There's a link in every video up at the top. It does give you a discount. Good people here. Much love. Stay prepared. Namaste.
Namaste.